Hey guys, Corey Ballard, Ballard Products here. I want to talk a little bit about the truth about lawn mower blades. Guys, there's a ton of different blades out there. We've got our own line of blades. There's the Oregon, there's the factory blades. There's tons of great brands. We've ran them all. We've been in the business 35 years cutting grass. We'll show you a picture. We've got about 20 crews that run. We run John Deere, Exmark, all kinds of different brands, Ferris. So we've been in the lawn cutting business a long time. We've used all the different brands of blades. So today I want to just talk about a little bit of what's going on in social media, what blades are best for you, what the different type of blades are that are out there, despite all the stuff you might see on social media. So guys, we put ourselves out there with social media. We do a lot of videos. Sometimes you can't get me out of your feed, but so with that comes sometimes a lot of negative reviews. I can tell you probably 90% of the reviews are positive, but how the blade's used can be a big factor in that as well. So just a few things, guys. We've tested them all, so I think people don't realize that. I mean, I've got Oregon blades sitting here. I've got Exmark blades. I got factory Ferris blades, factory John Deere blades. We've got all the different blades, the Stens. We've run them, we've tested them, we've compared them to our blades. So when guys send us comments like, hey, your blades don't cut, right? All blades cut, all sharp blades cut, but you do have to think about how your blade's being used, what time of year it is, what type of grass you're cutting, what's the turf type, what's the cutting height, what's your cutting speed, how tall is the grass when you get there, is it wet, is it dry, what mower brand are you running, are you running deck baffles underneath? So some decks have mulching baffles which restrict the airflow sometimes, which work really good if you're cutting short grass. I'm not a big fan of mulching baffles when you're in grass that's 8-10 inches tall. We do a lot of commercials, so for us that doesn't make sense. So just a lot of different factors. So let me walk you through real quick our blades and kind of the differences. We'll also pop up on here. We'll show you all 4 of the blades that we have and some of the features. You can also find those on our website as well. So just a standard blade, guys, is what we call a razor. That's just a low lift blade with the cutting edge here. This is a small blade for a little 30-inch Toro or Exmark time cutter. I think they call that little one. Maybe Time Master actually, but that's a 30-inch blade there. We've got our Ripper, which is a mulching blade, very similar to what's out there in the market, some of the Oregon, some of the other brands. You're gonna run something like this. Some guys run them all year, but they work excellent when you wanna mulch up the clippings and also when you get into leaf season. For guys doing a lot of residential, not as much commercial, we have our high-rise blade. There's not a blade on the market that has a higher lift than this. So when you're doing well-manicured turf, you really want to get those stripes. You really want to pull that grass up with the vacuum. A high-rise blade or a high-lift blade is going to be a great choice for you as well, whether you're running our blade or anyone else's. But we've got the highest lift on the market, and something really cool at the end here is it's turned in. So not only does it get that grass up, it gets it out from underneath the deck. So you get a ton of velocity out from underneath the deck. And then something new that we have for this year, for 2023, is we have our gold blade. This is a small short blade. This is a little 1525 blade for, I believe, like a Skag 30 maybe. So it's a short little blade, but we've got them in all sizes. So this blade here is kind of the combination. We call it a hybrid. So it's got a higher lift, still has the mulching fins on it. It's got the longest cutting edge on the market, not this short little blade, but if you compare it to the other comparable blades. And then it's got the carbide tungsten additive along the bottom. So with that, you're gonna get longer life between sharpening. They don't self-sharpen. I know a lot of companies claim that they have blades that self-sharpen. We could say that about this blade, but I don't want to mislead you. I don't think any blade self-sharpens, but as the steel wears back, the carbon tungsten stays in place and keeps a good edge much longer. So we've got those choices. We will have, for 2024, we'll have our high-rise blade, also in a gold version, so very similar. We will be going 3 inches wide just for a little more strength. And they will also have the carbon tungsten additive along the bottom as well. For you guys that like to double up your blades, a lot of guys talk about the X blades. The X blade is just a bracket, guys. Our blades are not made, I mean, they're not double, right? Some guys can weld them together and do different things. The X blade is just a bracket that goes between your blades and allows you to double them up. So typically with that setup, you would run a low lift blade on the bottom, a mulching blade on top, or in the fall, you may run 2 sets of mulching blades. You're just gonna get smaller clippings, less double mowing, less clumping, just a cleaner cut. You will use a little more fuel though. Obviously your motor's under a little more stress. You're gonna use a little more fuel, but if you're not double mowing and you leave a cleaner job, smaller clippings, and does a better job, I think the trade-off's worth it. We run X blades on a lot of our machines, especially in the spring and in the fall. One of the questions we get a lot too, is it hard on my machine? It's perfectly balanced. So if you've got good blades and you've got them, this thing holds it at a perfect 90. It's not hard on the machine. We do recommend that you lower your RPMs to about halfway when you engage and disengage, just to take a little pressure off the PTO, a little pressure off the clutch. But these will give, guys. So there's just a small lip here. If you hit something, this is intended to give. It's a $13 bracket, similar to a keyway. So if you hit something super hard, this bracket will bend, and then you'll have to replace it. But you want that to happen, because if it doesn't, you're going to do much more costly damage to your machine. So also, guys, I mean, there's a ton of good blades out there. We sell hundreds of thousands of blades. Oregon makes a great blade. Stens makes a good blade. Rotary makes a good blade. The factory blades are certainly good blades. So we just like to offer blades that we think are high performance blades, very cost effective. We continue to try to make blades that perform as good or better. And then one of the things that comes up is obviously the hardness of the steel. So we use a Rockwell 45 hardened steel on all of our blades. We are looking at maybe going a little bit harder, but the harder steel you get, the more brittle they get. So when you get up much higher, you can tend to break the blade. And so there's some level of them being a little bit softer. So on all of our blades, you're going to use your standard sharpening mechanism. So however you sharpen your blade now, you're going to use the same method you always used. We've got some cool sharpening. We've got our blade assist, and then we also got a really cool sharpener coming out as well. But even with the carbon tungsten, your standard sharpening is going to work as well. What else am I thinking here, guys? I mean, one of the things that, you know, when people say, hey, your blades are not performing well, you know, that's frustrating for us, because we test them on a lot of different brands. As you guys see when you watch our videos, we've got all the brands here. We test all of our blades. But there are a lot of factors, and one of the things that doesn't get mentioned as much is deck pitch. So make sure you understand what the recommended deck pitch is on your brand, because that can matter. And sometimes when they're new, they have the perfect pitch. I don't want to tell you exactly what pitch that should be, because every brand's a little different. But over time, some of those decks will change. Some of the John Deeres are held with chains, right? So the chains will start to flex. The deck gets out of pitch. You typically want that deck angled forward a little bit. Decks will get out of pitch. They won't cut well. Also, scraping underneath the deck. We sell a product called the Pro Scraper. Whether you use that, use a putty knife, I don't care if you use an old blade, but you got to have the underneath of your mower. It's got to be clean. That airflow has got to be able to work throughout that mower and underneath that deck. So, you know, when somebody says your blades aren't cutting well, or we get comments like they're junk, they don't cut good. Any sharp blade cuts good, guys. Our brand, any other brand. But similar to golf clubs, Kaz brought that up. He's like, it's kind of like golf clubs, right? You got 10 different golf clubs in your bag, but each golf club does something different. So you guys have to know what blade makes the most sense for your region, the time of year. A mulching blade may work great in the fall, but it might not be the right blade for you in May or April when the grass is really heavy and really thick and it's wet. So you'll see a lot of guys, including us at Perfect Cut, we have several different blades that we use based on the time of year. So just like anything, you've got to use the blade that makes the most sense for the time of year, the type of cutting you're doing, residential, commercial, wet, dry, different turf types. So I've kind of beat that one up a little bit. But so no matter what you guys are seeing on social media out there, we are going to continue to try to bring you guys the best blades possible. We've got several hundred sizes. Something I think that's really cool that we have that you won't see on any other website out there is we make it simple. So you jump on our website, you put your mower make, model, deck size. It'll show you exactly what blades are compatible for your machine. Some brands are more difficult than others. So Husqvarna, for example, some of them have the star center holes, the 5-point, the 6-point. But we're trying to bring more and more of those blades to you guys. But remember, our model is the commercial cutter, commercial cutting machines. You got, a lot of commercial machines are used on homeowners as well, or guys that are weekend warriors. Not a bad thing. They just, they cut grass on the weekends with commercial machines as well. So we cater to the commercial market. We're going to continue to bring you guys great products for the commercial market. We think our blades are as good or better than anything out there, and we certainly appreciate all the feedback and support. But just wanted to give you guys some information on blades. Make sure you understand what blade works best on your machine. And again, pick those blades, use them at the right time of the year. One more thing on sharpening blades too. I think there's a little misconception with this, and I've hit it on a couple videos, but nobody seems to understand that. But you want butter knife sharp. Got it, sorry guys. We won't reshoot this one. It just is what it is. Some guys think it needs to be razor sharp, that you're gonna be over here, you know, shaving your face with them. A razor sharp edge looks cool and it cuts good for about 45 minutes typically, but that edge will roll under. So butter knife sharp is the key. So when our blades show up, guys, you don't need to sharpen them. Some guys say they're not super sharp. They are sharp. This edge is gonna last much longer. So, and you'll see that all these factory blades, including the Oregon, they're all the same as ours. I know a lot of guys like that shiny, super sharp edge where they feel like they can cut their finger on it. Looks good, does not last. So again, we're gonna keep bringing you guys great products. I hope that makes a little bit of sense on the different blades that are out there. And you know, with social media, it's been challenging for us because we put ourselves out there and there's a lot of posts on a lot of different groups, and we appreciate the guys that stick up for us, the guys that run our blades, all the feedback. We try to share a lot of photos that you guys send us. So keep sending us photos of, you know, when you're using our products. And remember, we've got about 300 different products. We've got some other really great products coming to hopefully make you guys more efficient, effective, safe, and profitable. So we appreciate the support, guys. Take care. Hope you have a great season. You can find us at ballardinc.com. Thanks.